Man, I'm digging the new intro. I don't know if you're digging the new intro, but welcome to the Good, the Bad, and the Money Week 13 edition. And on this show, we talk 20 plus NFL prize picks and props in less than 30 minutes. And of course, this show is sponsored by Prize Picks. So if you haven't, go over there to the App Store, search for Prize Picks, use promo code Pub Sports for your first deposit, and they will match deposit it up to 100, minimum of 25, with no 5 or 10 time rollover. Just win and it's in your account. Simple as can be. First up on the show, I'm going to take you through 8 great spots. I know we normally go through get right spots, then great spots, but it's week 13. There's not going to be too many get right spots, and there's so many great spots to talk about. So let's just make some cash this weekend. And then we head right into the games of the day and go right into the man with the master plan in this prop world, aka Billy Briz, and finish with the biggest show on YouTube's ladder play, and then we get into the play of the day. So sit back, grab your notebooks, and let's beat some of these lines. And let's start with a few running backs. That's going to get us paid, and why not a guy that's been getting us paid for the most part, and that's Brian Robinson. I'm going to look at his rush yards over 63 and a half again. When we talk Robinson, we have to mention the gunshot wound. We mentioned that on the show because Robinson himself has even stated he is not yet 100% and just needs reps. Well, reps have what he's been getting. And man, oh man, is that 100% close, if not here. Robinson last 3 weeks have been versus bottom 10 rush defenses, and he's averaged 19 and a half rush attempts while gaining 82 yards a game. Well, now he gets another nice matchup versus the Giants defense. They're 21st in total yards and 26th versus the rush, allowing 139 yards a game. Once again, he's got another matchup, guys, with a bottom 10 rush defense, and he's averaging 82 yards in his last three games versus these teams. So sign me up for some Robinson. This is just too easy, and the attempts are there. Now let's get into a running back that's going to catch us with ease, and that's Gus the Bus, aka Gus Edwards. And we're going to look at his rush yards over 50 and a half. Now, I know J.K. Dobbins has been at practice, and he has had his 21-day window opened up to return from the IR. But all reports I've read is he's not going to be activated until next week, and that's another week for us to cash on Edwards. Gus Edwards is 3-0 to this number in the 3 games he has played, averaging over 14 attempts and 60 yards a game. Now he gets a Broncos D that's given up a 100-yard rusher in 3 of their last 4 games. This D's packed it in, guys, and the Ravens being a 9-point favorite, there can be a lot of Gus the Bus to end the game. The attempts are already there, so let's just get in the car before they move this line up. Now let's get into the best matchup for a running back by the numbers on this whole slate, and that's Nick Chubb's rush yards over 90 and a half. Now, we all know the storyline coming into this game, and that's Deshaun Watson making his first start in over 400 days versus his old team, the Texans. Well, I don't think Watson needs to throw the ball more than 25 times to win this game, and that's because this man-child Chubb. And Chubb this year has only seen 3 bottom 10 rush defenses, and man, oh man, does he eat. He's 3 wins, 0 losses to this number, averaging over 19 attempts, 131 rush yards, and a touchdown in each game. Yeah, those were his averages. Now he gets a matchup versus the Texans D, who's the 36th versus the rush, allowing 168 yards a game on the ground. Whether you want his fantasy score, rush yards, anytime touchdown, however you want to get in while the getting is good, and feast on some Chubb. Speaking of feast, this is a spot where we have to get in, and it's all because of what happened last week. And that's Derrick Henry's rush yards over 85 and a half. And last week, we got a gift from the gods, and that was Henry being held in check for less than 60 yards. Well, thank you, Bengals. This is a spot that's only come to us 5 times before since 2020, and Henry is 5-0 to this number, averaging 151 yards a game while chipping in 1.8 touchdowns a game. So anytime TD, fantasy score, rush yards over, just like Chubb, guys, get in while the chance is given to us, and it's there. It's on the table versus an Eagles defense, 18th versus the rush, allowing 120 yards a game. This to me is a gift that I've got to play. I'll parlay it to pick it. I will play the anytime touchdown with his rush yards, and I will watch this man eat. Give me angry Derrick Henry versus a mediocre rush defense. If you like what you're hearing, do me a favor and hit the like button. If you don't like, just DM me on Twitter and I'll see if we can change a few things. Always looking for ways to improve. Now let's talk a few wide receivers because, man, these guys we're about to talk about should all cash. And first one up is Garrett Wilson's receiving yards over 60.5. And last week, the Jets made a move they should have made a long time ago, and that's Mike White as QB. And in his first start this year, he targeted Wilson 28.5% of the time for 5 receptions, 95 yards, and 2 touchdowns in a game where they had it wrapped up by the fourth quarter and didn't need to throw anymore. And now he gets a matchup versus the Vikings defense, who is 32nd in the league versus the pass, allowing 276 yards a game through the air. Yeah, sign me up for what I think cashes in the first half. Wilson over, baby. Now we're going to talk 2 wide receivers in the same game. And this may be a prop person's dream, getting involved in this game. And let's just talk Jaguars Lions. So let's talk Sunshine's favorite target. Christian Kirk receiving yards over 60.5. On the year, Kirk is averaging 66 yards a game while only having 3 drops on 91 targets. And I'll give some credit where credit is due, and the Lions rush D has been stepping up the last 4 weeks. But their pass D is still atrocious, 29th in the league, allowing 260 yards a game. Kirk has seen 3 bottom 7 pass defenses this year. He is 3-0 to this number, averaging 74 yards a game. Give me a guy that hasn't been targeted less than 8 times in his last 5 games in a great freaking matchup. Now let's talk the beast from the Northeast. Amon St. Brown's receiving yards over 74.5. Call me late, but don't call me late for dinner, guys. St. Brown has seen nothing less than 8 targets a game his last 6 games and gets a beautiful matchup versus a Jaguars defense, 29th in the league versus the pass, allowing 260 yards a game. Well, St. Brown this year is only averaging 95.5 yards a game versus bottom 10 Ds and now gets a bottom 3. Should be another big day for Amon St. Brown. Now we're going to talk one running back where last week he cashed for us easy as pie, and we've got to get right back in. And that's Josh Jacobs' rush and receiving yards over 121.5. This is just simple, guys. We talked about it last week, and we need to take advantage of it when the opportunity is given to us. And it's right in front of us again. It's simple. Josh Jacobs is 3-0 to this number versus bottom 10 rush defenses. The last 10 weeks averaging 240 scrimmage yards a game in these spots. 240 scrimmage yards versus bottom 10 defense. And what do the Chargers have? A defense 27th in total yards and 28th versus the rush. This is the day the Raiders' bell cow should have a day on the ground or in the air, no matter what the game script calls for. Smash the damn like button if you like what you're hearing. If you love what you're hearing, go to my Twitter page and hit the retweet. It does help us a lot. Now let's talk about the 2 games of the day, because let's be real, they're 2 great ones and it's not the Sunday night game. We got Dolphins at 49ers where the total is set at 46.5 and the 49ers are a 3.5 point favorite. How do we not talk about the 149er who's paid for our bills, paid for Cyber Monday, paid for Black Friday, paid for your Thanksgiving dinner, Brandon Ayuk's receiving yards, and they still haven't corrected it. Okay, they jumped it up 2 yards from last week. Whop, whop, whop. Over 55.5. He's now 6-1 in his last 7 games to the over, with the 1 loss coming in the game where all the starters sat in the fourth quarter. This is the leading receiver on this team, and he's the 4th best weapon. But Jimmy G trusts him, and so do I. Ayuk is averaging 74 yards a game in those 6 wins, and until they adjust, I'm going to keep going to him. And now has a matchup versus a Dolphins defense who is bottom 10 in pass yards allowed. Oh, what a day to be on, Mr. Ayuk. And now let's talk a Dolphin. No, not Hill, Waddle, or Tua. I'm going to throw you a curveball, and I'm taking Trent Sherfield over 22.5 receiving yards. Sherfield has hit this over in 5 straight games, seeing 3 to 5 targets a game with 0 drops on the year. He's part of this offense, and this number is just too low for a man averaging 38 yards a game his last 5 versus a top 10 D who should be focused on Hill and Waddle. He's seeing the target share with Gorilla Glue hands. Sign me up for a number he hasn't caught up to him yet, guys. And let's get straight into the last game of the day, and that's the Chiefs and Bengals, where the total is set at 53 and the Chiefs are a 2-point favorite. How do we not go back to the man who's been cashing me and Billy Briz tickets the last few weeks? And that's the guy from New Jersey, Isaiah Pacheco. And I want his fantasy score over 9.5. In the last 2 games as a starter, he's 2-0 to this number, averaging 13.5 fantasy points a game. This finally gives the Chiefs offense a dynamic running back to go with the best quarterback in the league. So give me the guy seeing 15 plus rush attempts and an explosive offense where you've got to play the 2 safeties back. This all day is just too low. They have not caught up to Pacheco being the starting running back. So whether you want his rusher yards, rush attempts, or you want to get in on that fantasy score with me, make sure Isaiah Pacheco is getting some of your money this weekend. There was not enough Bengals players props out at the moment because Jamar Chase is supposed to play from all reports I've been reading. And if he does, I appreciate it. Get on some Chase over. Number 1 wide receivers is 8 versus this team, and Chase will eat 2. But I'm going to talk about the best tight end in football and maybe even a top tight end of all time. And I want Travis Kelce's fantasy points over 18.5, and give me a guy who has at least 1 touchdown in 7 of 11 games while averaging 6.5 catches and 82 yards a game. We pretty much hit this on his average, but I expect a shootout, and so do the books with the total. So give me some Kelce, and like I said, give me some Chase too when they do offer him. Now it's that time of the show where you don't have to listen to me poison your brains. We get a guy who's just the best of the best on the NFL Pub Hub every Sunday on Pub Sports Radio. I know him as the Snow Bunny Killer, but you guys know him as Billy Briz. Billy Briz, how you doing, my guy? And I know you have a big next 48 hours.
Oh yeah, this is the most wonderful time of the year. I feel like that's been the theme this November and December, man. Let's keep on cashing these tickets and keep the good times rolling.
Keep the good times rolling. Well, let's get into your first game on the board, and it's the Steelers at the Falcons, where the total is set at 42, and the Steelers are a 1-point road favorite. How you getting in?
Yeah, we're going to go to Pickett the Pickens, baby. He gets a great matchup this week. Falcons have allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to the wide receiver position and the 6th most receiving yards to wide receivers. Him and Pickett have been continuing building the chemistry, and this could be just a potential breakout game for him. He's on the cups of it. The air yards are there, but you know what, air yards, it doesn't translate into box score numbers. But since week 2, he's had 6 to 8 targets in 7 out of 9 games, so it's a good spot for Pickens, and Pickett the Pickens all Sunday.
Pickett the Pickens, baby. Get in where you fit in. Your second game is a spot I love. And when 2 people are on the same play, we need to get in. And let's talk Jets at Vikings, where the total is set at 44.5, and the Vikings are a 3-point favorite. Let's talk Jets, baby.
Yeah, this ended up being like one of my favorite actual just straight up betting spots. Garrett Wilson over 60.5 receiving yards. Mike White's favorite target was Wilson in the last game. He had 5 catches for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I don't know if you remember last year, but we were all over the Michael Carter bandwagon because it just seems like Mike White just locks in on 2 guys on the team. It just so happens Garrett Wilson's one of those guys, and he's really talented. It's a great matchup versus the Vikings, who are allowing the most receiving yards to the wide receiver position this year. So Garrett Wilson, all wheels aboard here.
Man, I love it too, bro. I love it too. And it didn't even seem like he was throwing to his running backs too much last week. It was 5 to 7 yard freaking passes, just like Mike White does. And let Garrett Wilson go. Get that guy get him in the freaking open and watch that boy from Austin run. Now we got to do it. Yeah, he is from Austin. Trey and Paul
Yeah,
won't let me
yeah.
not
I was
know
about
if
to
a
say
if a guy
KP.
they know who I was talking about, who on today, and I was telling them about Garrett Wilson. And I was like, bro, I really like Wilson today.
Trey
Oh,
comes up.
that
He
boy
went to
from
Christian.
Austin.
Yeah, he pulled from Austin. He came from Christian blah 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 school.
Yeah.
All
Oh, he
right.
played with my homie fucking whoop whoop whoop. But yeah, we have another spot once again where we both like. And usually I put my picks in before Billy, but today Billy was on his shit. I woke up seeing in the Twitter messages that Billy had his plays. I didn't look at them, but yeah, once again we have another spot where we both talking about great spots, and it's the Browns and Texans game where the total is set at 47 and the Browns are a touchdown road favorite. How you gonna chub up into this?
Yeah, this one's a little bit narrative streak that's backed by the statistical data here. The Texans' rush defense is just historically bad, man. You just have to attack them every week. Watson gets his debut versus his former team. While he should get more of the attention in the betting markets, the Browns have a chance to establish the run easily in this matchup. He hasn't played in 13 weeks straight. You think they're about to just come out here and let him just rip it like he's Patrick Mahomes? No, guys. This isn't Madden. Let's be smart here. The Texans defense is allowing 169 yards per game. Hunt's production has gone down a little bit for rush attempts, and that's really the key numbers to rush attempts because all you need is attempts against this Texans defense, and you'll go over. I thought this was going to be like 105 yards or 115, but it's not. It's 90 and a half. So Nick Chubb over 90 and a half rushing yards and potential ladder play up to 100 yards.
They opened him up at 95.5 on Price Picks on Monday, and yesterday it got dropped down to 90.5. So the books must have put out theirs. Price Picks will do that. They will lure you with lines. They'll make their own lines, and you've got to beat it the right way. And last week we did not go negative on any line move, so that right there tells us we're on the right path. Then we finish up with my favorite quarterback in a game where the fantasy god should shine on. And that's the Chargers and Raiders, where the total is set at 49.5. It's dropped a point, and the Raiders are a 1-point home favorite. Billy Briz, talk about my guy.
On a side note, I would like to bet that over 49 and a half. That seems a little bit low.
It's definitely going to be on a teaser, bro.
I was just making sure. That was just a
But
side
see,
note.
the only thing with the Chargers though is they're averaging 21 points a game over their last 6. They're not scoring.
That's not a good indicative because I feel like Herbert's going to have better performances with Keenan Allen back in the lineup just in general.
Bro, that's his third down guy, bro. That's like, he's the piece.
Yeah, we're going to go with the over 13 and a half rushing yards. We're talking about the Keenan Allen splits. Herbert with Keenan Allen on the field averages 22.5 fantasy points per game versus without Keenan Allen on the field, 14.9 fantasy points per game, which is really bad at the quarterback position. Las Vegas defense has allowed a top 12 fantasy quarterback in 9 out of 11 games so far this season. And I expect a good performance in the key divisional matchup for the Chargers. This game means a lot for the Chargers here. And Herbert's been, sneaky athleticism, as the announcers would say. And he's been going over his rushing yard total of recent. And I think he goes over again. 13 and a half yards is a low number.
It is low. And they forget that Herbert can run, guys. Herbert can fucking run. In Oregon, this dude ran a lot. He just understands that in the NFL, you're not gonna make it running it all the time, being a skinny white boy. But always a pleasure talking football with you, my guy. I know you have a busy weekend ahead. What shows can they find you on, and where can they find you at?
Yes, man. We got NBA Pub Hub following the conclusion of this episode, and then tomorrow, UFC Orlando, the big banger. It was 15 fights. Now we got 14 fights. Cancel fight of Tisha Torres and Amanda Ribas, the sexiest girls on the card. But, we'll live to see another day.
They can, bro, have any fight they can take off, please be a woman's fight. Because especially after Kayla Harrison, I will never, ever, 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 ever bet a few. I mean, I'm done. I thought I was done last time. We're fucking done. We're done. So, Yeah,
Oh my
if
God,
you
I
like
forgot
what
about
you're
that.
here, hey, there's a big MMA card, guys, tomorrow. Make sure you tune in to Pub Sports. It's a card away from Vegas. It's the card at the end of the year, which means they've got to give a bunch of fighters fights right now, guys. They have to give them, at least offer it to them. So we've got legit pay-per-view type card going on tomorrow, and we're going to have a fucking blast on Pub Sports. So make sure you're following Billy Briz for his MMA plays, for his NBA plays, for his fucking football plays. He just fucking wins. He's fucking Al Davis himself. Just win, baby. So yeah, if you like what you're hearing, smash the like button while we hit a quick commercial and come back with Big Show picks and get into some ladder plays and the play of the day.
Real quick, Billy, Lockett or Metcalf?
Lockett this week. It feels like
Man, there's like one part of that I just fucking feel like Nirvana, grunge, take me to Oregon, put something in my veins, baby. But I know you've been busy as all hell with all these college shows you have going and MMA tomorrow, and we're not even talking all the shows you do for me. How you holding up? And have you caught a fucking deer yet?
I'm holding up pretty well. It's been a rough season, actually. I haven't caught any deer, which is hilarious because there's actually a hat out there that's called Catching Deer, which is hilarious to me because it's shooting deer. But not much luck on the hunting tip yet.
Well, maybe they are on the whole. We know it's freezing balls outside too, and we're not coming out for another month. So,
Well,
the
we got
world
another month to
changes.
hunt them. We just got to use a bow now.
Ooh, hiya! Do it like that guy who just whooped Adesanya's ass and shoot some bows.
Yeah.
Well, I knew at first you didn't know if you had a ladder play, but you ended up with one for us, and I actually am going to put my money on it. Do you want to let these fellas know how they should be putting their money?
Sure.
What's up, everybody? This is Big Show Picks coming in with another Big Show ladder play of the week for the good, the bad, the money. This week, I'm going to be on Davante Adams and Josh Jacobs combined receiving yards over. First step, over 149 plus 102. Second step, over 152 plus 110. Third step, over 158 plus 124. Coming into this game, the last three games, these two are averaging 14.6 receptions a game. The last time these two played each other was week 1, where Davante Adams actually killed the slate. He caught 11 catches for 141 yards off 17 targets. Josh Jacobs got a significant bump past 3 weeks in the receiving game. Let's take a look at the Chargers side of the defense. According to DraftKings, they played 11 games. They are ranked 18th, giving up 217 yards a game. In the running back department, they're ranked 28th, giving up 151.4 yards a game. Total defense, they're ranked 26th, giving up 368.7 yards a game. I think these two combined could get it done. It's not one of my strongest ladder plays I've came up with in the past, but I was going to look at Davante Adams anyway and then realize the only other person on this team doing anything worth a while is catching some passes. So I'm going to combine. As always, remember to hit that like, comment, subscribe. Join if you'd like to become a member. Good luck this weekend. Peace.
And I know you made that video quick, but there's also fucking Davante Adams, like you said, he averages 111 yards versus the AFC West. Then he averages 119 yards versus bottom 10 Ds. there's a chance Devontae Adams does this by himself, like at the end of the day.
That's the sole reason I'm playing the play, Sharpie. That's the sole reason I'm playing the play. I'm playing this to get a better number on Adams.
And like
If that
I'm
makes sense.
already on Josh Jacobs' rush and receiving yards. Like he averages 240 yards, scrimmage fucking yard, not just rush. Those are receiving yards. He had 74 last week versus another bottom 10. So yeah, those are the two guys who should fucking eat in that fucking offense. So I fucking love it. I know you said you don't like it as much, but I actually do. So
I just said it wasn't one of my strongest, like my
put some
most.
conviction in it. Conviction.
Yeah, like I said, though, it is a one game plan. You know, like it's one game script that's got to go 100% my way. That's probably Adams getting 140 himself.
Hey,
If he can get
or
140, I cash all three legs. I'm not necessarily just trying to cash the one here. So, like, when you think about it in long term, like ladders, I want to cash all three of them, and I want to be more convicted on the third one than the first one. This one, I think he gets the first one, and it's gonna be a little sweat to get the other ones.
oh, doodaloo, doodaloo, doodaloo. We're gonna travel into the future now, not the past. And let's get into what these people came here for, and that's some free money. I know you're looking at the Titans and the Eagles game where the total is set at 44.5, and the Eagles are a 4.5 point favorite. How you getting in?
So on this one, it's not necessarily a numbers play. This one is basically just the number one receiver on a 10-1 team. Going against his former team that I know he's got a little bit of bad beef with. You know, like he might have took back some tweets, he might have took back some stuff, but I'm taking AJ Brown over 5.5. I think he's going to cash 6 just because it's going against his favorite team. Here's one of the tweets right after draft day or right before draft day talking about AJ Brown and the Titans squad. He says, "I'm a diva now and a bad teammate all of a sudden. LOL. Okay, do what you want. I will do." Another tweet coming in this part of the season. He's chirping him a little bit. I repeat, nobody's open. He's bringing that up because on the draft day, they ended up taking Treylon Burks with the pick. And the reason they said they got off AJ Brown is because they couldn't make that kind of commitment because he wasn't getting enough space on the ball. Like their numbers saying he wasn't getting enough separation, all that. So I kind of like the little ammo he's got going into this one.
Bro,
Plus, he averages 5 catches a
revenge.
game, 1 catch more than his average. I think he does it. I think he gets 2 touchdowns in this game.
Revenga, bro. I'm on his fantasy score, bro. This guy, from just hearing those tweets, this guy wants to get into the end zone in this game more than he does any other game. You don't?
It wouldn't surprise me
You
if
don't think Jalen Hurts knows that?
7 for 85 and 2 touchdowns would not surprise me in this game.
Might have the game of his career, bro, and then give his jersey to Treylon Burks after the game.
He might even do the little man.
Fuck, bro.
Because
But go ahead.
they were comparing it because, like, remember Sanu and Jones back in the day? They were saying he's more Sanu than Jones. And when you look at that body type, he looks more like Jones. But I think he figures it out this week. If there was any week to prove it, he had this one circled on the map.
I like it though. No, this is straight up Revenga Day, revenge, bitches. Well, if you don't know what my play of the day is, then you just don't know what I do, guys, because we're right back on the same play of the day from last week. Yes, they jumped it up a point. Whip-de-doo. Josh Jacobs fantasy score over 19.5. Now, I'm not afraid of a point. They should have jumped it up more. He's played versus 3 bottom 10 rush Ds the last 10 weeks, averaging 240 scrimmage yards and over 32 fantasy points a game. Well, the Chargers are a bottom 10 defense, 27th in total yards and 28th versus the rush. Jacobs eats in these spots, and I'm going to eat with him as well. Shout out to the chat. Smash the like if you haven't. If you don't know, you should know. This show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Go over to the App Store and use promo code PUBSports for a match deposit of your first deposit up to 100, minimum of 25. Big Show, tell these fine young people where they can find you and what you have upcoming on Pub Sports Radio.
Yeah, like Billy and Sharpie said, UFC tomorrow night, Sunday always with Sharpie here in the Pub Zone. Monday. Check out all the clips. You can find me at Big Show Picks on Twitter, TikTok, and IG.
Well, guys, you could find me on the live bet stream tomorrow with the crew and catch me, like Big Show said, Sunday morning on the NFL Pub Zone, where we go play by play and give you live scores, stats, and updates of NFL Red Zone morning games on Pub Sports Radio. So until next time, I'm Sharpie's Bets. He's Big Show Picks, and we be what?
We be pubbing.